One of the things I've learned in my career is preparation is key. And I've got a quick story. I was a new manager at a property management company. I was one of about maybe 12 people at a table. They'd all been there for years, and I'm the new kid, and I'm also new in the industry, so to speak. And we got to this part in our industry, this season that comes up where we have to look at our books and reconcile them. And this is math heavy, lots of numbers. It can be intimidating if you've never done it before, and I had never done it before. So I go to the meeting where we start talking about these books and these pages and pages of Excel spreadsheets. And I start to notice that, okay, this is something that's out of my wheelhouse, but before we get back to a second meeting, let me be ready. I used to stay at work late, midnight, reading documents, checking out leases, reviewing those spreadsheets, and I started noticing things that didn't make sense. And I thought, I can't fake my way through something that I think is wrong, so let me write down a couple of questions and have them ready for this next meeting. And I get to the next meeting and I ask a question, and my colleagues are saying, yeah, that's a good question. So some of the pressure I'd put on myself to not ask a question and look stupid kind of started to alleviate itself a little bit. So we move on with the meeting and I have yet another question. So my boss looks at me and says, well, actually, we never noticed that. You're right. That's a good question. And so the next thing I know is my colleagues are looking at me and they're noticing that I've got this list of about 13 questions on paper. And so maybe about 3-4 questions in, someone says, well, Mish has a whole list of questions. Why don't we just kind of finish the meeting by going down the rest of her questions? I'll be honest, I walked into the room secretly, because I'll never let you see it in my face, but I was secretly scared to death to look like the person in the room who didn't know any better, to look like the idiot in the room. It turns out that people who'd been there 10 years, 5 years, 8 years, who'd been there longer than me, who do this every year like it's nothing, had the same questions or didn't even realize the oversights they'd been making all those years. The new kid comes in 3 months, I've got a list of 13 questions, and suddenly I'm dictating the direction of the meeting. So that just goes to show, don't ever be afraid to ask a question, and definitely be prepared when you walked in. If those people didn't know anything about me, what they knew for sure was I had reviewed those documents, reviewed those figures, checked out those leases, and I was prepared for that meeting.